All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're cracking open the toolboxes some of the highest achievers out there. We're talking about 5 powerful strategies they use to build a memory that's not just good, but incredibly reliable.
You know the feeling, right? We've all done it. You walk into a room with a purpose, you're on a mission, and then, poof, nothing. You're just standing there wondering what on earth you were supposed to do. It's got to be one of the most universal and, yeah, frustrating little glitches in our human brains.
But here's the good news. It is not just you. Seriously, it's not a personal flaw. Our brains are actually designed to forget things. You can think of it as a built-in cleaning service. It's getting rid of old, useless information to make space for the stuff that actually matters. So in a way, forgetting is a feature, not a bug.
And this right here, this visual, this is the science behind it. It's called the forgetting curve. It basically shows how crazy fast we lose new information if we don't do something, anything, to hold on to it. So that amazing presentation you saw on Monday, well, if you don't do anything to review it, you've probably forgotten most of it by Wednesday. Yeah, the drop-off is that steep.
Okay, so what if we've been thinking about memory all wrong? What if it isn't some gift you're either born with or you're not? What if it's actually a skill you can train, a muscle you can build? Well, that's exactly what top performers believe, and today we're going to learn their workout. First up is an absolute classic. I mean, this technique goes all the way back to ancient Greece. Orators and scholars have been using it for literally thousands of years. It's called the method of loci, but you probably know it as the memory palace. The real beauty of this method is how simple it is. You just take a place you know like the back of your hand. Your house is perfect for this, and you turn it into a mental filing system. So, let's say you need to remember a grocery list. You could imagine a carton of eggs splattering against your front door, a river of milk flowing down your hallway, and a giant loaf of bread just bouncing on your sofa. The crazier the image, the better it sticks. Then, to remember the list, you just take a mental walk through your house. You're basically hacking your brain's incredible spatial memory to lock in abstract info. So, if the memory palace is all about getting information into your brain, our next hack is all about making sure it stays there. This is our counterattack against that forgetting curve we talked about. It's called strategic spacing or spaced repetition. So instead of cramming everything at once, you strategically review the information at intervals that get longer and longer. Every single time you revisit that info right when you're on the verge of forgetting it, you're basically sending a huge signal to your brain that says, "Hey, pay attention, this is important." And that simple act stops the forgetting curve dead in its tracks and builds a really solid, long-term memory. And just look at the difference here. Cramming, it's a high-stress, frantic sprint that, let's be honest, leads to you forgetting almost everything. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket by blasting it with a fire hose. Just doesn't work. But strategic spacing, that's a low-stress, consistent approach that actually builds lasting knowledge. It's all about working smarter, not harder. Okay, our third hack is a big one. It shifts our goal from just remembering information to truly, deeply understanding it. And it comes from the mind of the genius physicist Richard Feynman. It's an amazing tool for forging knowledge that really sticks. This quote right here, this is the entire technique in a nutshell. The real test of what you know isn't if you can remember a bunch of facts. It's whether you can explain it to someone else in the simplest possible terms. The process itself is just brilliant. You pick a concept you want to learn, then you try to explain it like you're talking to a kid. The second you stumble or use complicated jargon or just confuse yourself, boom, you've just found the exact edge of your understanding. So you go back to your notes, fill in that gap, and then you simplify and simplify until your explanation is crystal clear. All right, this brings us to hack number 4. And honestly, this one might be the biggest game changer of them all because it goes against how most of us were taught to study. It's called active recall. Here's the absolute key difference. Recognizing something versus recalling it. Passively rereading your notes feels like you're doing work because the information looks familiar. That's just recognition. But active recall is totally different. It's about closing the book and forcing your brain to pull that information out of thin air. It feels hard because it is hard. But that struggle, that's exactly what forges strong connections in your brain. It's the mental version of lifting a really heavy weight at the gym. And now for our final hack. For this one, we're going to learn to work with our brain's natural limits by using a strategy it's already a fan of. It's called chunking. This visual says it all, doesn't it? Our short-term memory is pretty limited. We can only hold around 7 pieces of information at a time.
But by grouping or chunking individual bits of info into one bigger unit, we can totally cheat that limit. We do it all the time with phone numbers, and you can apply this to literally anything, from a complex password to a difficult scientific formula.
So there you have it, 5 incredibly powerful strategies. And these don't just help you memorize random facts. They help you learn, understand, and hold on to information for the long haul. You should really think of them as your personal cognitive toolkit.
So let's do one final, super quick review. Use the Memory Palace to tap into your brain's spatial genius. Use strategic spacing to make memories that actually last. Use the Feynman technique to make sure you truly get it. Use active recall to build strong retrieval highways. And use chunking to make big, intimidating information feel small and manageable.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Memory isn't something you either have or you don't. It's something you build. These tools prove it. So the only question left to ask is, what are you going to build with yours?